Good morning, friends, and let me tell you all that yes, CSR as a subject fascinates me. Normally, we talk about CSR as something where you're donating funds, or we talk about CSR as charity. But then, as Sandeep rightly pointed out, can we be talking about social entrepreneurship in the best possible fashion? The answer is a categorical yes. And if we are talking about CSR, in one line it stands for a self-regulated business model. I look at CSR as a business model aimed at alleviation of poverty, uplift of the downtrodden, and making the country an economic superpower. If that is not CSR, then we are treading the wrong path. And I have experts here who'll join, hopefully during those months. The idea about CSR sometimes seems to be confusing, not only to individuals like you and me, but it confuses even the corporates and the conglomerates who propose CSR. And I'm telling it with great amount of understanding and thought through deliberation and an informed debate by which I have come to this conclusion that sometimes we say that we want to do CSR, it's been mandated, it's compulsory, and we have to use a certain percentage of profits, maybe 1%, 3%, whatever it is of the net profit, depending on how big the conglomerate or the multinational is. What happens? The biggest problem we have is, and it's not meant to be commenting on anyone in particular, funds are transferred to a trust. We talk about a percentage of profits having been put into a trust. Unfortunately, the trust in the eyes of the public seems to be governed by the same institution. And then the question arises, is CSR taking place? Now, this may be a very touchy subject, and I love to have a debate on a touchy subject. We want the country to be doing well. Point taken. We want the country to progress. Better still. But goodness me, when we have charitable trusts and organizations and foundations which are supposed to be having the funds to deliver the CSR objectives, sometimes, more often than not, we tend to feel, are we falling short of the goals that we have set for ourselves? We have CSR organizations and foundations headed by phenomenally good professionals. And some of them, I have the good fortune of sharing the desk today. And they're sitting on the desk. They'll be the next speakers around. Having said that, what is CSR supposed to do? When I say that it's supposed to be a self-regulating business model, does it sound contradictory? Is CSR and business model not going hand in hand? Sandeep mentioned about social entrepreneurship. CSR, social entrepreneurship, viable economic business model. Can it happen? Ladies and gentlemen, would you like to say a yes or no to it? Any voices? And I think, to my mind, although the voice was feeble, I'm so happy that it comes from some here. To my mind, CSR has to be a movement. It has to be a revolution, an idea whose time has already come. And India has to progress. in particular. And we don't have to have people say that this country is a poor country. You know what is the astonishing part of the entire story of India? We have unicorns being built up. 180 unicorns in the last 5 years in a startup scenario. Next only to US and China. I can't talk about China right now. I don't know the numbers, whether they are true or not true. And the number of billionaires increasing every year exponentially. The number of wealthy increasing. 1 or 2% of the population is the most wealthiest, not in India, even in the world. And a huge portion of the population of 140 crore below poverty line or treading poverty. That's a stark contrast that we are facing. And no country is more better positioned. When I see this stark contrast, I see an opportunity. An opportunity to deliver through the CSR business model. I keep on emphasizing CSR is a business model. Ladies and gentlemen, it's very important for all of us, whether we work in the corporates or in the NGOs or in foundations, to understand very clearly CSR cannot be construed as a charitable activity. What are the founding pillars of corporate social responsibility or corporate citizenship, as I'd like to call it? CSR should be a corporate citizenship. If that's what we want to call it, there are 4 pillars on which a CSR runs. 1, it has to be based on something known as environmental responsibility. The second one has to be on ethical responsibility. The third would be philanthropic responsibility. And last but not the least, all these 3 pillars need to be backed by what I term as the most important ingredient known as financial responsibility. These are the pillars of CSR. And if we talk about something known as environmental responsibility, it's the duty of every citizen of the country to ensure that pollution, global warming, in all these areas, we ensure that we reduce the emission. We ensure that the nature is not actually destroyed. What I mean by nature is the afforestation that is taking place when we are uprooting the trees, when nature is being actually destroyed, and when we use toxic substances like plastic. We need to be moving over to say that environmental destruction is not going to be in our DNA. And whatever we do, we need to ensure that it's going to be done in a manner in which environmental responsibility is taken by each one of us. It's easier said than done. Sometimes we do have great feelings of doing it, but the execution leaves much to be desired. But then, someone has to stop. And when we took this responsibility of saying that we'll have CSR summits, the idea was at least we'll form a vehicle through which we convey the message that CSR has to be very, very critical. When we talk about ethical responsibilities, ethics just sums up as fairness in whatever we do. Fair and just. To me, that is an ethical display. If we are having ethical responsibility and initiate CSR programs towards educating people towards ethics, I always believe in one word, one sentence: there is no economics without ethics. And if I were to say that there is no economics without ethics, and if you want to become economically strong, trust me, CSR plays more than a big role. It becomes the heart of the organization. When we say that we'll be into philanthropic endeavors, philanthropic endeavors is something which we love to talk about. But does it result in actually the people who need the knowledge, getting the knowledge and getting reskilled, upskilled, unlearned, relearned, and contributing to the society as a whole? That's when philanthropy has played a major role. And if we have done that, we have succeeded. Now, having said all this, is there a financial responsibility? Because whenever it is CSR, somehow or the other there is an image in our minds that yes, it has to be just on the amounts that we spend, no matter what is the input-output matrix, what is the desired outcome taking place. If it is not, it's okay, we made the donation. Charity is being done. No. No one wants here self-pity. No one wants here pity. No one wants charity. If everybody is taught and everybody is made employable and valuable and we create value, CSR has delivered. In return, the society will deliver back to us. First we become givers. The people who become the takers then become the givers. And that's the loop that has to run. And that's how CSR functions without losing its identity, becoming a major fulcrum in which the organization functions. Are we saying that when we do CSR, the company doesn't prosper? Of course, it does prosper. I am amused at times that when people do CSR activities, especially the corporates, it could be the conglomerates in India or the multinationals in India, even if you see a TV ad, they say in the public interest. And they want to advertise from the rooftop that we are doing a CSR activity. Is there a need? In my opinion, no. We all know, we continue to know, and we shall, even in this age of internet, AI, ChatGPT, Google, and whatnot, one brand of advertisement that's never going to fail for now and forever is going to be word of mouth. Word of mouth is going to be there, and if CSR is done without publicizing, and if the world comes to know that these guys do something very different, that catches like wildfire. That is what I call as viral of the good old days, instead of the viral artificial likes that catch up and we say, oh, it's gone viral. I see the internet saying that we are viral. I'm not so sure. But when people say that this foundation laid my foundation, I think that's going viral. That's to me CSR. And having said that, if CSR is done the right way around, we have seen some of the brands having their valuations gallop. I need not actually elucidate that point, because if you look at some of the companies, even in India, where it was said that these foundations have contributed so much, automatically, and if it had had the desired effect, what we have seen is the brand recognition, the brand value, the brand recall, all because of one common theme, CSR, has catapulted to the top. You take even the Fortune 500 companies from Starbucks to Berkshire Hathaway to JP Morgan to in India, Infosys and others, you see only one common thread. We say that the foundation has done so much, it has helped so many people, the people are indebted to this foundation, automatically they feel that the company has to be good and they get the best talent. They attract the best talent, they retain the best talent, they have the best productivity, and naturally, because of CSR, they become blue chip companies, not only in the mind of people who want to be part of that company as an employee, but blue chip companies in the mind of investors. So, what does CSR do? CSR creates value, and organizations get valuation. And if this is not wealth creation, ladies and gentlemen, I'd be doubting what could be a better wealth creation. All that I can tell you is today is going to be a fun-filled day in terms of understanding what CSR is all about, how we take it, diversity, equity, removing inequality and ensuring inclusion is there. The D, E, and I come into play as a result of CSR, I feel is what is going to be the game changer in today's topics, and the speakers we have is a fascinating roster of speakers. Please don't miss the action, and all the best for a wonderful day ahead. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.